keep your mind on some righteousness. I'm telling you. I mean, what you saying? I ain't liking it. I mean, focus on you righteously. That's gonna be everything you need to be fighting it. I mean, I care about y'all so much because I know how what I went through when I was a child, how it was when I was a child. That's why I care about y'all so much. I care about your parents so much because I know you care about your parents. You feel me? But care about righteousness. That's gonna show you what else you should care about. Love God. You should care about that the most. You should care about God the most. You know what I'm saying? Can't have nothing without God. It's only one God, the righteous God. It's only one. He's the only righteous God. Deeming him worthy of being the only one to be called God, referred to as God, considered as God, known as God. We call upon the names because that's what's going on today. People are saying plenty of names, plenty of gods, millions of gods. But then when they get to calling on God, you think they're calling on plenty names, plenty gods, many gods? They call on one God. And what's better than the righteous? My name is Keegan, first name Vincent, last name Johnson. You know what I mean? They tell you what you can be and how that you are already somebody. You're righteous. That's what you should focus on being the most. thank God to be able to speak like this. Every time that I can, every time that I have, any time that I have, when it wasn't even like this. Gotta love God because He love you. You know what I'm saying? You can't even love Him more than He love you. But that's why you should be trying to love Him so much. But take care of yourself. Of course, love you. But when you're doing righteousness, you're doing all that at the same time. But you still need to thank God. For creating Himself so that He could create you. Thank God. You know what I'm saying?
Thank God always and forever. Anytime that's ever will never be the time that's there. Pray for that.
God know you like that.
Say for that.
He know you already. It's like at times you ain't thanking God watching because you ain't sensing. But you knowing He is because He don't miss nothing. He don't miss nothing. If He have to come back later and see what you did, He gonna know it. If you come back later and see how you felt, He gonna know it. Be somebody you want to see. Be somebody you want to see what you did. Be somebody that you want to show Him what happened. Because He the one with you. He about whoever right. I'm going to just tell you, as far as a police, they'll make you feel like, oh, this is something that you should want to be. Yeah, you should want. Because they mess with me just to be doing it. Just like the average person around you don't like you for who they see you are, who they know you are. And you're not wrong, but they don't like that. They wrong and not liking that because it's something about them. And then they act out there. So police don't like me just like anybody else might not. Like anybody else might not like you. And they act out there. Threaten me with jail and try to talk to me any kind of way and think that I'm just going to talk proper. But you see, I can still do that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm not going to do is act like I'm going to thank you for not harassing me.
I was about to say, come on, Facebook, but shit, They designed this shit to be malfunctioning.
Like, I'm gonna thank you for harassing me and then not locking me up. You have no reason to be harassing me. But that's just what's going on. They messing with somebody who ain't done nothing wrong because they don't like that. Anti-righteous is what they are. You understand? So they doing that, and then going around here talking about who else doing something wrong when they need to be starting with themselves. If you're locking people up for doing wrong, you need to be starting with yourself. If you're doing rehabilitation, you need to be starting with yourself. If you're reprimanding, you need to be starting with yourself. That's what's wrong about it. That's why you move righteous, you're going to be strong about it. But protect yourself, though. Whatever you have to do, it's about really, not going for nothing you don't go for, just like you don't do today. But keep your composure. You know what I'm saying? Because they will try to...
And pray. You know what I mean?
Run your nerves real bad, and then ask you what's wrong with you when they know why, because they getting at you wrong. Then you answer that question, and then they make a whole conversation out of it, but they still told you what you did wrong, because you ain't here now.
Pray when you get up in the morning.
They knew what they was gonna do before you even knew it. So when it happened, and you think it's just it ain't a conversation or some peace talk. It's them really trying to get at you.
Pray all through the day.
The wrong way.
Talk to God.
Because for a police to know the same thing I know and then go volunteer to be a police, that's saying that you want to be with what they with. Especially when ain't none of them speaking on none of the other ones. Because they all the other ones.
Hold on. I want to say this.
When I'm going to do something good just so that they can...
I want to say this. I wonder how can Rick Ross be rapping and not rapping about none of the police stuff. You feel me? And how can you be a CO and think that because you coming in and giving the prisoners weed or cell phones that you doing something helpful? You feel me? When you walk right back out of that cell from giving them that weed and cell phone and don't speak up to the people around you that work there about the wrong that's being done. And then you get off work and go home and don't speak about none of the wrong that's being done in there. You feel me? With the whole injustice system. You feel me? You don't speak about none of that. But, like, I hit rich forever and shit. Like, every money ain't good, man. Every money ain't good. Every dollar ain't good. You feel me? Yeah, it's just like being not to say that this like slavery, because I say it's not that, because we ain't like, it's people today that's talking about they wouldn't have been slaves. I couldn't have been no slave, man. Ain't no way. I would have did this, I would have did, but ain't nobody even doing so much as speaking. Fuck running away. Nigga ain't even speaking about the shit. You talking about marching. Motherfucker, I don't even mean to cuss right here because I know kids gonna be watching it. But people, marching after the fact. This is the time to be marching, but people are too busy sitting up in their house. And you see me sitting at home right here, but you can go to the next video and I'm outside somewhere. You know, it's about marching, but then, you know, as soon as something happen, everybody want to march and uproar and who lives matter and righteous lives matter for sure. You know, those are the ones that do, and they praying on that. So to be talking about you giving somebody weed and cell phones, and then they locking up righteous people that ain't got no reason. I done been to jail 2 times. I wasn't supposed to go. One of those times was just unlawful arrest. You know, and the way he came about knowing that I had a warrant. You feel me? First he said I stole where you steal the car from? And then found out the car wasn't stolen. And then he said, oh, well, you do got this failure to appeal ticket. The car ain't coming back stolen, but you got this failure to appeal ticket. After he had me in handcuffs and in the back seat for stealing the car. Stealing my car, which I had the registration for. I had a valid license. I had, insurance. He ain't, well, so what? You ain't ran no tag? Now, if you would have ran the tag and see that I had a ticket, then I would have just took that. Like, okay, well, yeah, I did forget to pay the ticket. I put it in the glove box and forgot to pay it. But I'm in the line in the store on break from school, an hour break from class, and I'm buying a Black and Mild, and this thing I know I got handcuffs on my wrist. Somebody, you know what I mean? I'm like, what you doing? Like, what? Oh, just come with me. Like, I'm like, man, what you talking about? Like, what you doing? Like, oh, where you steal the car from? You feel me? So that was just unlawful arrest. The 2 out of the 3 times I've been to jail, which was all in the year span of my arrest, I wasn't supposed to go. The next time they talking about, oh, well, are you under the influence of anything? You feel me? I'm like, nah. And I had left my ID at the house because I had left my license at the house. Because I was going out, couldn't even get in the way I was trying to get into because I didn't have my ID, my license to get in the club. So I was fresh for nothing, you feel me? But on my way back, I'm probably like 5-10 minutes from the house. And you're like, oh, well, because your eyes look a little, and I'm like, nah, I ain't like, no, I haven't drank. You feel me? But I had drunk probably like 2 days before that. And I was young. I was like, 20 years old. You feel me? 20, 21 years old. And I didn't know how long alcohol stayed in your system. So, but I knew I hadn't drunk nothing in 2 days. You feel me? So I'm like, no. You feel me? So, and I hadn't drank a lot when I did. But I didn't know about it anyway. But that wasn't even the issue that I was saying no. I was just saying no because I knew it hadn't been drinking that day. You feel me? It was nighttime. I had to drive all the way back to the house, didn't even get in. So, but I'm telling him, like, as soon as he came up, I'm like, he asked for license and whatever, And I'm like, okay, get license and insurance. That's what he asked for, not just whatever. So he asked for that, and I'm like, I don't have my license on me right now, but it's in the system. Like, you can look it up. It's in the computer. That's what I told him. It's in the computer. So he disregarded that and, are you under the influence? Nah. I'm gonna get the insurance out the glove box. You feel me? well, are you under the influence of that? You know, it was a black and mild in the ashtray. That's when I knew I was going to jail. I'm like, so I'm looking at him like, why are you trying to play with me? Like, this is a black and mild. You feel me? I knew I was going to jail. Then he's like, you can step out the car. Like, so, you know, I wasn't supposed to go to jail. Then and on top of that, they pepper sprayed me, trying to get me to say my ABCs backwards. I'm not saying it because I've never done it before in my life. I'm not about to do it for my freedom. You feel me? Can you walk a straight line? We down there in gravel and broken up asphalt down by some garages where I done pulled over at. Because I be trying to pull over quick so they don't think I'm trying to run. You feel me? So I do that. But you know, can't walk no straight line like that. But I did try to walk, but I'm like, shit, I mean, I can barely walk a straight line anyway. These are some stupid ass tests. Motherfucker, if you get me to do all this, it ain't no reason that for you to be thinking I'm drunk. You should know that shit off top already. If I'm drunk, or if I've been smoking something and driving and shit, you should know that without me saying my ABCs backwards. Because that means that if a person can do it, then they can just get back in their car and drive off drunk. You feel me? So it's just injustice, you know, even in the sense you're gonna make out of some nonsense. But it's just showing you that the shit don't make sense. And children excuse me for cussing, you feel me? But that's just shit up. So when a person, you know, I want to be a police so I can change it from the inside out, and like, what would Rick Ross be able to say about that? And then getting out here and just, I'm selling dope. Like, nigga, I don't care about how much you selling dope, nigga. You feel me? I don't, nigga. Because you wasn't giving about no hope. Talking about you helping somebody, but you wasn't doing nothing to, you knew what the system that you was working for. You know what I'm saying? And talking about getting money. And every police had that same stupid smile on their face. You feel me? Every police. I got a picture. I had a picture of a police that looked just like that, bruh. With the same stupid ass smile. You feel me? But that's not even really the issue. But it's just the issue of being there and talk about. That's like back in when I was speaking on slavery. That's like back in the slavery days, and I just been talking. I ain't been knowing if I've been got them talking or none of that shit. You feel me? But either way, that's like back in slavery days when, you know, slave in the house to come give food to the slave and hey, you know, that's like the cell phone and weed and drugs or whatever it is. But let me see, it's still recording. Okay, yeah, but that's like giving them food and stuff, and then if they try to run, tell on them. You feel me? They try to escape with, you know what I mean? Tell on them. You feel me? You need to be slipping some people out the back door if you doing all that. You feel me? Not motherfucking giving them weed. You feel me? Giving them cell phone, like, and then making them pay you for it. You feel me? And then talking about, like, what would he say about that? Like, oh, but talking about, oh, I'm about anything about getting money. But all these ways to get money, and that's the way you choose? All these ways to get money out here, and that's the way you choose. When you see what that shit is. I ain't always knew what it was. You feel me? But I just knew that the shit wasn't for me early on because I hadn't seen Menace to Society. I hadn't seen that already. I hadn't seen Deep Cover, like under second grade. You feel me? Boys and Hood. I had seen all that under second grade. So I like when the police came out of school to visit to talk. I'm just like spaced out, looking at the wall, like zoning, not looking. I'm looking at. I found a spot on the wall and looked at that shit while they was in there talking. You feel me? They asking questions, people raising their hand, and I'm just looking at that spot on the wall, ignoring all that. You feel me? But you know, yeah. So, and to speak just quick on 50 Cent, that's like every time something happen, he got something to say. Like he's just the one. Like got a show called Power, but ain't got no power. You feel me? Like the thing with Terry Crews now. If Terry Crews would have knocked that man out, like, don't you know a dude in a restaurant who worked in a restaurant just recently this year knocked a white man out, an old white man, and killed him because he called him a nigga. Killed the man, and now they where he at? Like, you can't let somebody say out their mouth allow you to put your hands on them, because you can say something out your mouth. You feel me? And then that'll be that. Y'all can talk back and forth if you want to. You feel me? But I know how they got felt because they think they can just do that, and then it's like, but we done with trying to show you that you can't. You can say what you want to say, because I'm gonna say what I want to say to anybody I want to say it to. But I also know how and to navigate speaking. You feel me? You know, but I also have had a much time to get my speech together and get a sound way about moving out here. You know, because the harassment from police that wasn't just them 3 times that I went to jail, and even on the 3rd time where I was supposed to go to jail, they still did some bull. You feel me? Added a whole bunch of charges, made it look like something when, you know, taking me to the hospital to get my stomach pumped. Somebody smell weed on. I smell it too. I smell the weed too. He telling the other police, I smell it on. I smell it, but I ain't got it on. I ain't even been smoking. And like, I ain't even used to smoke like that. You feel me? So, and we go to the hospital. I get my stomach pumped. He doing his report, and he said, I got to go to the bathroom. You know, to the nurse, the gay nurse assistant or whatever. You feel me? So he come. They both come back together, and now the nurse trying to get me to drink something, talking about your potassium low, something like that. But I sip it and it tastes like piss. You feel me? So I'm like, nah, I ain't drinking. I spit it out after I like it hit my tongue. I spit it out. You feel me? And he like, well, if you don't drink it, then I'm gonna have to put this needle up you. You know, you feel me? So I'm like, what do what you gotta do? I'm handcuffed to the bed. Like, do what you gotta do. Like, I ain't drinking that though. You feel me? So and then they did all that, shoving the tube down my throat, and toxicology come back nothing. You feel me? It just be little stuff like that. The doctors be in on it. I deal with doctors today. You feel me? That's just act like they gonna just feed me pills, and I'm just, you feel me? Just take it and just many pills they want to give me, I'm gonna take them. Nah, I was on like 11 pills at one time a day, just for like a mental condition that happened in kindergarten that they never treated until I got 21, and then they say, here go all these pills, take them. You know what I mean? So to be able to speak like this is because I have a regimen that I do. I have the leisure that God allowed me to have, and the righteous ones along the way that, you know, cause it was like, it wasn't just like, oh, get 21, then, you know, get disability and get benefits. Nah, like, they really tried to drag me about something that they supposed to have been addressed. I graduated high school with brain damage. You feel me? All the way from kindergarten. You understand? And that's just a blessing from God, because I really did need that. You know what I mean? Because it like, as many opportunities as I didn't have available, I still had like Job Corps. I went there at 24 years old. You feel me? I went to college before Job Corps, but I was already. That's when like I couldn't like surmount the trauma of the condition anymore. Like, I couldn't surmount it, and like despite it, I couldn't, I couldn't like advance despite it. I couldn't like surmount it despite it. You feel me? No more. Like, I was always able to like kind of knock it off a little bit to be able to just focus in. You feel me? Like, focus on this one thing. I would miss a lot of other stuff, like extracurricular stuff, and any parties and all that. Like, I wasn't even. I was just focusing in on that hard way. You feel me? But I needed that, because that got me to the day where, Like people been trying to play me all my life, even through the fights I done been through with that. They never was successful because I just sustained righteousness throughout it. That was just God, man. That was just God. You know, you know, that's what I'm most grateful for is God conceiving Himself. You know what I mean? I thank God right now for that. You know, because I know He listening. I know He heard me say that. You know, Him conceiving Himself, and through that, the conception of the function of righteousness. You feel me? And that's what I'm most grateful for. You feel me? So, yeah, you know, wickedness will never prevail over righteousness. Righteousness diminishes wickedness every day, and you know, until the one day dissipate. You feel me? Until every man here decide they want to be righteous and choose that every day, and maneuver in that every day. You understand? And the righteous, you know, transition. They transition from here. You know, they transition. It's a transition. It's not a death. It's a transition. You feel me? The evil, wicked ones, they dissipate. You feel me? Nowhere they can be found after they die, and nothing they can be. You feel me? So when people speak about hell, the hell is knowing that. You feel me? They live in that now. That's why they do so much wicked stuff, because they already know that. You feel me? They already know what they got coming to them, and they are anti-righteous. You feel me? They hate God, so they can't love themselves, and they can't love nobody else. You feel me? So that's why when you see stuff like that happen, you know, you gotta speak on it. You gotta say something. You gotta step up for something, not just when everybody out here marching after somebody done got killed, and then okay, well it's just, you know, but people like, oh well, I'm just gonna sit up in how Rick Ross got a big ass house and talking about how many people staying there. You feel me? Like it's people like, you feel me? And then talking about like God in your house, like but you ain't talking about none of the police shit. Excuse me, because, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So if Terry Crews just would have knocked the man out, after he already had that said, the man said like looking at him like, who gonna believe you? So if he would have knocked the man out, then who the fuck would have believed him? Besides us. And then who the fuck would have freed him? Because motherfuckers ain't stepping up by now. You know, it's a man just got executed. That they talking about they executed him, hurried his execution because they were trying to save the injection drugs. When the real reason was they was trying to execute him before the analysis came back from the DNA, which proved after he was dead, which his sister had to sue to get from the, you know, just whoever it is, legal system, all that, justice system, or yeah, so the government basically, and the results came back that it wasn't matching. You know, he maintained his innocence the whole time, didn't say nothing on the day of execution because he was already good with God. Ain't nothing nobody really can do to you. You know, you don't like it now, you don't want it, but ain't nothing nobody really can do to you once you good with God like that, and like God give you that understanding of, like, you know what I mean? That'd be your strength, sustaining righteousness. So always do that. You know what I'm saying? Do what you know is right in any moment. Do what you know is the best in any moment. Not just what you want best. Not just what feel best to you, to be good, to feel good to you. What's the best thing to do? Analyze these situations, and that's why I need, you know, that's why I'm grateful for the leisure that I do have to like work on my cognition and function. You feel me? To like, you know, be able to move sound out here because they really be preying on me like that. You feel me? They really be preying, and it don't just be the police. It be just, you know, everyday average, you know, wicked people, evil people. Just like, oh, well, I'ma, you know, try to hit him while he walking across the crosswalk. I'm gonna rev my engine and I'm gonna push the gas and then push the brake like I was gonna do something. I'm gonna speed by real quick as soon as he take those last little step. You feel me? Stuff like that. Now they pulling up on me like, but it ain't even just the everyday average person out here. It's the so-called family. You feel me? The so-called family, because you know I'm just finding out who my family really is. Like yesterday, you feel me? Yesterday, birth certificate ain't real. It goes that deep. You feel me? It goes that deep. So, though yours might be, mine isn't. But I still hold my documents where they somewhere around. You feel me? I still hold my documents just because. So, I don't even really gotta hold them because they got my fingerprints already from the times they done arrested me, which they act like they was doing me a favor. Well, we got your fingerprints, didn't we? You feel me? But you didn't have no reason to be messing with me. You feel me? So now they want to act like, oh, well, we gave you Social Security. I was supposed to have that day one. At the least, y'all settled the case and didn't even talk to me about it. And now the guardian done spent all the money. You feel me? I bought a car with the little $3,000+ that it did have left. And after she done bought 2 houses and got now one on the show for today. You feel me? But then be acting like she doing me a favor for giving me a place to stay. But you been staying off my money for how long, and then I ain't got nothing to show for it, and then I buy a car and her brother steal it. So really, what's going on? But I wasn't even tripping out that. I wasn't tripping because I knew he was hating when I pulled up in it, because he used to have one like that back in the day. You feel me? Just the same color, everything, a box Chevy blue, but mine was way more fresher and cleaner. You feel me? But yeah, I seen him hating when I pulled up in it. I'm like, But either way, that's just material things anyway. But you want your material things. Don't let nobody tell you that. Yeah, you like a little something. You don't just glamorize it like that. Uh, you know, you don't just glorify it like that. But you like a nice cushion to sit on, like I'm sitting on right now. You feel me? You like some decent stuff. You feel me? But yeah, at the same time, you know that I could go because you could walk outside the door and the police can say, oh, like you did me, or who, I ain't seen you around here before. That don't got nothing to do with that. You don't know every person in everywhere to say that you need to be done seen them before. Instead of getting out of the car, stating your issue, but So I'm gonna stop it right here, and then I'm gonna start it back because I'm running out of space and it's gonna stop anyway. 14:02, okay.